This is Boston, Lincolnshire, a town with a rich cultural past littered with notable characters and events. Due to its position as England's major port in the 13th century, the town has always been connected to a vast range of cultures and visitors. It was from Boston, Lincolnshire, that the Pilgrim Fathers sailed in 1620 to the New World, and thus laid the foundations for both the city of Boston, Massachusetts, and more importantly, the American Constitution. The two Bostons may on first viewing seem to have little in common other than a name. On closer examination, however, the similarities are striking with their aspirations to create an environment of freedom, tolerance and equality. Fast forward to the 21st century and those aspirations are under considerable pressure. Boston, Lincolnshire is divided. Its culturally diverse community, established over the past 600 years, is no longer seen as something to be celebrated. Today, Boston has hit the national headlines as a town in turmoil. A town coming to terms with the expansion of the EU and with it the arrival of migrant workers. From the early 1990s, migrant workers from Portugal and more recently Eastern Europe have moved to Boston to find work. And that's when the tensions began and still persist. Alchemy is a groundbreaking pilot project based in Boston that aims to foster a better understanding of the town's culturally diverse population. The project is about breaking down barriers, and from February 2012 to March 2013, the Alchemy Project will engage with Boston's communities as it attempts to unravel the myths, misunderstandings and prejudices associated with the arrival of migrants into the town. What follows is a brief range of views expressed by some of the people currently living in Boston. Local people and new arrivals all have the opportunity to have their say.
My name is Krista. I'm generally from Latvia. I came here like 7 or 8 months ago, and well, I'm living here at my own, so pretty much all my family is back in Latvia. I'm studying here English to get in university.
My name's Bob McCauley. I'm 63 years of age. Moved up to Lincolnshire about 15 years ago and purchased a business, employed local people. Really like the town, just a nice place to live really.
I'm Dean, I run the Boston Protest March. I've lived in Boston all my life. I'm 43 years old, I've got 6 children and at the moment I'm unemployed.
My name's Jenny, I was born in Ireland, brought up in Kent, moved to Lincolnshire about 13 years ago and then to Boston about 10 years ago. I've got 3 children and I work part-time.
Hello, my name is Daniel Milutin, I'm from Estonia. My mother tongue is Russian. I'm single and I live in Boston since 2005.
My name is Ringaila. I am Lithuanian. I was born in Vilnius. I came in Boston 3 years ago. And I'm internal auditor. I established the Facebook page for Lithuanians in Boston as well.
Hello, my name is Aigo Kartel. I introduce Eastern European community. The main purpose of this community is to provide integration process of Eastern European people into British society.
My name is Magdalena, I'm from Poland. Well, I'm a publican here. I came to England 7 years ago. I need to get some money to pay back my school, my university, and I didn't see any chance to do it in Poland, so I just came here and somehow I stay so long. So.
Hello, I'm Marta, I'm from Poland. I came here 2 years ago. I'm here with my family, with my dad, mom and my little brother, he's 10, and with my boyfriend.
So what is the best thing about living in Boston?
Maybe my boyfriend.
I really enjoy Boston. People are really friendly here, there's a nice atmosphere where I live. The children really enjoy the school here. I like all the parks, open spaces, it's really nice.
It's still a lovely little town in the depths of a beautiful county, Lincolnshire. Obviously you've got a beautiful stump and you've still got some very, very nice people in the local community.
It's nice to see the people walking in the streets, talking in various languages I can't even understand. That's a variety. I mean, it is beneficial, I think, for the people themselves.
There is no good thing about living in Boston. It's a hellhole at the moment. The high immigration levels, the mix of different cultures and races, the segregation of people. It's just not the place we grew up in, which was a happy, friendly community place where everybody knew everybody.
The most interesting thing about Boston that it speaks, as I read on internet, 60 languages.
There are a lot of good people who are always ready to help you, to give you a friend hand, to help you in difficult situation, to give you good advice.
The Facebook page, tell us a little bit about it, please.
Well, last year, it was, I think, in December, I decided to just open a Facebook page for Boston Lithuanians. Now we have 4,000 people there.
What's the most asked for service from Eastern Europeans? What do they want from you?
They ask about how to do appointment to the doctor, how can I claim for pension, and am I entitled for pension, am I entitled for another benefit, what can I do to change my job.
Do you feel that the migrant workers have been given sort of preferential treatment in terms of jobs, housing, healthcare, policing?
Local people are not happy that migrants get all the job, but in the same time I think that if they really would want it, they would get it because they have this, they know English better, much better than migrants, and I think they're just not trying to get to work.
They will work for 14 hours a day for minimum wage for each of them hours. We wouldn't. We would want a proper day's wage for a proper day's work, which would mean overtime rate or a piecework rate. We wouldn't work for that minimum wage. The hospitals or the doctors, and they've got to have translators in, they will deal with these people first because the cost of translators are too great.
What do you see as the real problems in Boston?
If I would be, by nationality British, I probably would be quite mad of those migrants who doesn't speak English and they still can get a job. It's quite disrespectful for English people to not know their language and being here.
You only have to look at Boston Marketplace on a Friday or a Saturday night. You get a group of English lads or girls even these days, and they have a bit of a drink, they get a bit leery, they're having fun with their friends, but everything gets a bit out of hand and people get hurt, and it's really unfortunate. And then what gets reported in the media is the crime that's been committed by the foreign nationals.
If immigration was controlled and people were allowed in limited numbers, so there was work for them, so that there was facilities for them, so they weren't having to live in tents like they are here and live in rough, not all obviously, but a lot, that shouldn't be allowed in this day and age. The only people that really come out on top of this are the local farmers and the packhouses, because they employ this immigrant labour at a far cheaper rate than they can an English person. We've actually seen murders in this little town created by foreign nationals. And this falls back to the government. They wouldn't sign the agreement that would give them the information and the data of people that have got a criminal record.
Does Boston provide enough services for this growing population, such as schools and hospitals?
I think yes, it provides it, and I think the problem is not connected with coming people, but in general with the medical service in the UK.
An elderly gentleman was admitted to A&E on a Saturday evening. He'd gone into a hypo, he was diabetic, and in the end they had to discharge him and give his family instruction how to monitor him every 2 hours because they haven't got anywhere for him. And that's purely, again, because of numbers.
And you think those numbers are the migrants?
Well, obviously they are. I mean, we know. I mean, you haven't got to be a brain surgeon to look around Boston. The town, the infrastructure and the services has never really been built to accommodate that number of people.
My personal experience about hospital when I had accident, and I was very good treated, as I think. So I don't think any difficulties about services. Police, because 2 weeks ago I was robbed, and the treatment after that was very nice to me. They care about me. I feel that they care about me, what happened.
But I think the people in here are really struggling, but they are making that happen. they're doing their job, I mean, like, quite well.
I think it's put a strain on the town's education systems, and it has put a strain on the town's housing systems and having to find accommodation and education and work for all these extra people. I mean, I said earlier that the work wasn't really an issue because it's more just doing the work that's available rather than stealing it from other people.
Got quite a bit of a profile over the past few months due to the Facebook posting.
I think it was going to be a matter of time before somebody did it, and I figured that I'd had enough and needed to do it. I've been called a racist, I've been called a bigot, I've been told that I'm just singling out the foreigners, which isn't really the case because it's not actually a race issue, it's more to do with immigration. And the only people that I'm singling out are the government for not having the backbone to stand up to the EU.
Why do you think people want to protest against the new arrivals in Boston?
I don't know. I think people want to see the bad in things. I think there's a lot of myths surrounding kind of the migrant population. You know, they're coming into Boston, they're taking our jobs, they're taking the places for our kids in schools, they're sponging off our benefit system. When I think actually, in reality, a lot of the people that come here to work. And they come here and they do the work in the factories and on the fields that would be readily available for our own English unemployed people, but they don't want to take those jobs. So they're not stealing anybody's jobs, they're just taking the ones that nobody else wants to do.
Many of people who came here, they don't have any choice and they want only live in normal way here. And I think the protest can be understand in other way about the racism things. I'm afraid about that. I won't be safe here because I don't do any harm for people here and I won't feel safe.
In my opinion, they shouldn't do the protest like that. They can go to London to meet the MPs, people like that who actually making the law and protest to them. They're not happy, but holding the protest in the town, it actually showed me how many people hate us. First of all, I start to worry about us and our customers, that if the protest is going to be held on the street over here, then we might have some damages or might be some sort of fight.
Have you witnessed or have you been a victim of what they call hate crime?
Once we were just passing by church and some British people said that, you know, this event is only, no, you can go in the church, it's only for British people.
We had a case not so long ago of a 74-year-old man, Brian Baxter, who was viciously attacked in Boston from behind and punched in the face and was told, "I hate you, you English pig, I'm a foreigner." And they actually got the bloke for it.
He was an Englishman and he told me stories that his friend who gave his house for rent here for people from Lithuania, I think, or from Latvia. So he came to the house and saw that one of his lodges he doesn't have teeth, front teeth, and he asked what happened, and he told me that he just they were eating in a pub, they didn't make any trouble, they just were talking to each other in Latvian language or Lithuanian language, and also a young man, Englishman, approached them and with a bottle of beer he hit him and broke his teeth. Just because he spoke Latvian language. They did report it to the police.
What did the police do?
Well, I know in the first case they just caught the people because they continued their walk around the town and they were looking for them and they caught them.
Sometimes happen that somebody just, you know, called me the names or called me a bloody foreigner or whatever, but you know, I always try to ignore that because it's not a point to just thinking about this all the time.
I've not heard of anything going from what you'd call the English side, if you like, against the immigrant community.
Recently one guy was killed, Polish guy, which I actually knew, and you know, I believe the problem was his accent or his nationality. Father of two, grandfather, 43 years old, young guy.
Should the government be more responsible and proactive sort of dealing with sort of racism in areas such as Boston?
I think it's very difficult to deal with something like racism, which in Boston, to be honest, occurs on such a large scale. There's a lot of resentment, and there are a lot of migrant workers here, and you can see how the town's changed. A lot of people are quite afraid of that, and there's a real fear surrounding this change and this difference.
Can't send them all back tomorrow. What can the government do right now to sort something out?
Well, they can start by capping the borders to stop the flow of any more coming in from the EU. They can put measures in place that will make them here for their own benefits. People that are living homelessly on the streets, that are out thieving, that are just generally being a nuisance should be sent back straight away. There should be measures put in place that people that aren't earning a certain amount of money are also sent home because they're not benefiting themselves. A 3 strikes and out ruling should be brought in, and if they commit more than 3 crimes in this country, they're sent home. And if it's a serious crime, they're sent home straight away.
The government don't open their eyes and just put blinkers on and keep on spouting how good it is to be in Europe, how we can go and work abroad. Who the hell wants to go and work in Latvia? You know, they're all coming here for Christ's sake. You can't go and work in Greece, they've got bigger unemployment than we have.
How do you think communities can work together to break down these barriers of understanding?
So I think that we need just to speak more with each other. We need to meet in clubs, in church. I teach people from different countries to speak English. And when they start to speak English, they feel themselves better. They start to make friends among the English people, and they integrate into the community this way.
I can understand that, you know, if you've not actually taken the time to speak to people from other nationalities or get to know them or let your children play with their children, that it can be quite scary when you don't take the time to get to know them and integrate them into your life and your community.
To show the good things about the different cultures, we obviously mix up all together here, Polish, Lithuanian, Latvian, English, Portuguese, Chinese, you know. So why don't do something to show that our culture is rich and nice, and we have art, we have literature, you know. So maybe that would be a good idea, to just show that we are humans too.
I think it doesn't need anything massive, to be honest. I think it can be as simple as inviting your neighbour round for a cup of coffee, just saying hello to them in the street in the morning, exactly the same as you would do to an English person.
Culture, art, joining everyone, I mean like the picnics, things like that, just simple.
I remember from my school, my English teacher always said to me that England is a beautiful country, multicultural. How come if you don't like other cultures? Instead of spending the money, for example, on the protests, which they need to hold some in alarm, the police and other services which cost the money, why not focus to do the events like you're doing now? To get us together, show our culture. Why to spend the money on such silly things like, you know, big protests? I would say so. Nobody done anything in this town to get us connected together.
Before we started having these meetings, I saw no good in any of them. I thought it was all one big bad element. But on the last meeting, speaking to Camelia, Krista and the 2 Latvian lads, I see that there was some good in some of them, and that there is something we could work with to bring communities together.
And that's what you want to do now?
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? As this film highlights, there is still some work to be done. Over the next 12 months, the Alchemy Project will keep listening, and through a programme of creative workshops and training, make other films with the help and advice of Boston people, old and new.